Hi, this is Vivian Kirstein, Realtor, and I am going to be showing you an exhibit that's here at Rollins and introduce you to
Hi.
David Matteson.
Hi, I'm David Matteson. I'm the Associate Curator of Education here at the Rollins Museum of Art, and we are going to take a look at an exhibition, Modernisms, Iranian, Turkish, and Indian Art in the 1960s and 70s, that's on loan to us from the Gray Art Gallery at New York University.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay, David, tell me. First, I'm going to move back here. We're going to look at this piece because this is one of David's favorites.
It is, and this is actually the image that's on the exhibition catalog. This is a work, a painting by the artist Bedri Rami Ayabuglu. He is a Turkish artist. This piece is from 1961. It's titled Full Moon. And what do you think, Vivian? What are we looking
Well,
at?
I see a lot of partial moons, and I do some full moons. What does the moon mean to this culture?
So the crescent moon is, of course, the emblem that's on the Turkish flag, and so the artist is perhaps referencing that iconography, also maybe the legend behind the Turkish flag. There are several different kind of origin stories for why they utilize the crescent moon, one of which I think is appropriate for the title here, Full Moon, is that the head of the Ottoman family once had a vision of a moon, and as it kind of came into its fullness, this analogy for the rise of the Ottoman family and the spread, of course, of the Ottoman Empire.
It's a beautiful piece. I'm going to just come close so as a viewer you can actually see the texture and these lines.
Absolutely. And so this is a work that is very much so engaged with the formal elements of art, thinking about line, texture, color. And, I can't, it really has that impact because of that strong use of red. And it's a work of art that I like to think requires multiple looks. So I see something new every time when I look at this piece. And it slowly is one that I've
it starts revealing to yourself. That's
exactly.
one of the wonderful things to me, David, about really good pieces of art is that every time I come to a piece, it reveals something new. The docents of the Orlando Museum of Art were recently here and you showed this piece, and it was so interesting to hear what other people see in it, and then all of a sudden you see something new. I'm just going to go over here to the tag so everybody can kind of see that and read that. Can you repeat his name?
Bedri Rami Ayabuglu.
Ayabuglu.
So we actually have his work and then his wife's work included in this exhibition.
Oh, that's great.
So both of them are working in this style of modernism. So a big part of this exhibition is opening up our definition of who or what counts as modern art. Of course, when we study modernism in our art history classes or when you visit museums, large museums, they're often focused on artists working in European traditions or from Europe or the United States. And so this show, looking at Iran, Turkey, and India, is exposing us to many different artists who were certainly just as great as the Rothkos or the Almiros or some of these other artists that they might be referencing working in those Western traditions.
And what
year
would you say modernism is for those people who really don't know the term?
Modern art, of course, it's somewhat confusing because when we think of modernity, we're thinking of maybe the current moment. But within art history, we're talking about the period from the late 19th century working to about the mid 20th century of artists who were reconciling with the rapid changes that occurred during that time, both culturally in terms of technology as well. And so their styles of working, the way that they were painting, the way that they were sculpting certainly adjusted and changed. And they looked to define what are the affordances of their particular medium. What can a painting do that a photograph cannot? What can a sculpture achieve that a poem could not? And so there's this purity of form that modern artists were very much so engaged in, and often to the degree of abstraction, like in this piece.
Great. I'm just going to go look around here real quick so people.
Absolutely.
This is a fantastic museum, everybody. If you are in Orlando and you have not been here to the Rollins Museum of Art, you must make a visit, and several, because they're always changing the exhibits and they're always quite interesting. You will not get a place like this pretty much anywhere in Orlando. And tell us a little bit
Sure.
about this collection and who it was that collected it.
One of the narratives within this exhibition is to open up our understanding of what modern art can and should be, and so changing those definitions perhaps. But also another narrative here is the story of this collection. And so this was the work of a woman, a collector named Abby Weed Gray, who the Gray Art Gallery is named for. Abby Weed Gray in the 1960s, after losing her husband, he's here, he had, unbeknownst to her, been investing in railroad stocks, and so she inherited something of a fortune.
Nice.
Yeah.
And what do I do with all this money now?
And he had been in the military, and so she had a real appreciation. She had traveled with him as a military wife, and so she had a real appreciation for other cultures and really believed that art was a great vehicle for understanding other perspectives, other cultural worldviews. And so she decided to invest her money and her inheritance in collecting works of non-Western art. So she traveled the world, and this map does a really nice job of outlining some of her travels, the years that she visited these countries. And so you can see there's repeated visits to places like Iran or India or Turkey, but she went as far as even Japan. And so she, I feel, really sought to support these artists, not just purchasing their works, and not just through monetary support, but there's a real, she did a lot of research, kept meticulous journals about her visits to see these artists. And so the ephemera in these cases is exploring that story, these relationships that she forged, as well as some of the exhibitions that she helped to organize. So,
and this was in the first exhibit, it was in 1975.
So that's when they donated it to, so eventually she of course sought a repository, a place where she would donate this collection, and it could be used in perpetuity, of roughly about 500 pieces, again, non-Western art. And she
walk in here.
So
one of the things that I found to be really interesting is how she had this collection, and in the end of her life, she's trying, as many collectors would do, try to find a home for all this work, and she had difficulty.
Right, so she approached, I think, 3 different museums, and they did not accept it. It was outside of their collecting purview or what have you. And she eventually went to New York University, who had an art historian on their faculty who was a specialist in non-Western art. And he saw the value in this collection. And so that is how it ended up at NYU. She previously had no affiliation with the university, but they saw the value, and it has become a remarkable cornerstone of their art gallery, of their collection. And so really we're grateful to NYU to be loaning this exhibition to allow us to expose our students, as well as the community, the wider community, to many of these artists. And there's roughly 100 works in this show, and I'm embarrassed to say that I only knew 2 names coming into this exhibition of many different artists.
Isn't that amazing?
It's been wonderful to learn about new practices, learn even just a more nuanced understanding of modern art through this exhibition.
There's a lot of pieces in here with words and calligraphy as well. I just want to, especially Iran. Okay.
So a lot of the works here in Iran, and I found this quote really interesting, that the artist Sierra Manji, an Iranian artist, said that of course within Persian cultures the poet is very held at such a high importance, but Sierra Manji, a visual artist, once said that poets had this unique affordance within Iranian culture at this time because they could express their political beliefs without the fear of censorship, unlike someone who would work in prose. And so I thought that was a really interesting idea. And so many of the visual artists
That's
in
very
this
interesting.
Iranian section of the gallery are utilizing text, utilizing calligraphy,
And
but as
making
visual
political-
form, right?
And making
it's not
political,
legible,
right?
clearly.
But in their own mind, they're making political statements.
Absolutely, very much so. And I mean, this is an interesting period in
Look at
Iranian culture, Iranian history between, the coup d'etat and, of course, the Islamic Revolution in '79. And so, there's skepticism, there's differences of opinion about, how much involvement of Western cultures, of powers like the United States should be involved in Iranian politics and culture. And so, some of these artists are certainly participating in those Western styles of making, but at the same time, they're incorporating their specific cultural heritage. And so it's this interesting balance, I would say, tedious balance between the two. But again, just so grateful to have this exhibition, to have this opportunity to engage with so many new names, and I hope that people will
And I'm
see the
so
show.
impressed that you can say them. I'd have to spend some time.
Well,
I
that's a
think that's another thing that may actually be difficult for these people to get their name out there, because it's unfamiliar of how to pronounce their names. Just
Sure.
that in itself. But I have to say, it's a lovely, lovely exhibition. And
It is, it's beautiful. And there's a wonderful catalog for this show. We also have a youth guide for this exhibition.
Oh.
So it includes activities, that it's free at the front desk, so please bring your families.
Great.
It includes little activities and definitions, and it's a strategy for how you can lead a younger group, young people, young at heart as well.
And tell our viewers when the museum is open. Is it cost any money? All of that.
We're free. We are completely free.
Oh.
We're open Tuesdays. We have extended hours until 7 p.m. And then other days of the working week we're 10 to 4. But all of our hours can be found online.
Yep.
And then the weekends we have noon to 4 as our open hours. But
Thank
again, we're free,
you.
and please come see the show. It's up
It's
through
free.
December 30th.
How much can we encourage people more to come?
Yeah,
It's free.
absolutely.
It's wonderful, and
So,
it's always something here.
Rollins Museum of Art, rollins.edu/RMA. So
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed this video. David, you're amazing. Thank you. Yeah. Bye.
Cool.